You want to fight crime? Let's get dangerous.
And yes, it is showtime, and the camera went back up high again. But nevertheless, it is what it is. Welcome to another episode of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. I'm your host, Joe D. McPhee here, and there is probably going to be a lot to show, but not too much to talk about, because why we're talking about goals for 2025. And those goals that I'm going to share tonight are very few, but it's not something to take lightly either here. But before we get into the actual business of the day here, we still have to do our normal due diligence here, such as telling you about Stupid O'Clock that happens at 11 p.m., which is normally 1 hour into this show if we go into the second hour, which is followed up by Last Man Standing, where you get a little bit of a respite until Monday. And that is Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you get Nevermind the Furthermore with Nicholas Tockert. And it is coming back. And I was working on a few things for it. And so this upcoming Thursday, we will have our first Comic Book Spectrum for 2025 right here, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central. And we will have our first, and I do mean our first, annual Specky Awards here. So what does that mean? We're going to be talking about the best of 2024, and we're going to officially call our best of the year show pretty much the Speckies. So that's a new thing that we're going to try out for this year, starting with the best of 2024. And if it works, we're going to keep with it here. But I know what you guys are looking forward to right now, and that is new comic book pickups for the week. And yes, there's new comic book pickups for this week. And guess what? It is not recorded this time. Why? Because I'm live in the studio again, and this camera is getting on my nerves by falling, going upward. So I'm going to bend it down like that and get it into position there. Boom, there we go. So I got a whole big stack. And when I say a big stack, we're talking about close to like 140 books. Yes, I am not kidding. About 140 books to get through on this comic book pickups for the week, because like I said, beginning of this year is going to be everything that couldn't get here before Christmas. So now, since we got a whole bunch of stuff, we're going to go over and cover it as of right now. So if you're in the audience here, yep, almost a gross of books. Yeah. Well, yeah, 144 is a gross. I think we are a little bit over a gross of books. Yep, and here we go. Yep, there we go. There we go. We're about to get into it. I know this is your guys' favorite part of the show here, because why? We're going to start off with another copy of Mystery 22. I actually read that one again. That was a nice one. We also got I got to make certain I get this out of the glare. Thing issue number 22. And then we got Supreme Power number 9. And then I had to get this. This is Superboy issue number 2. Why? Because this character right here to me is a underrated character for Superboy, which is Knockout. And she is not really evil. She just misunderstood, because she's kind of like that bad girl / hey, I kind of like you type character, and they kind of flesh her out a little bit more in Birds of Prey, and it's kind of like one of those characters. It's like, okay, I kind of dig where they're trying to build her up as, but she, she's just one of those characters that it's like either it's like you love her or hate her. I mean, put it this way, I would take Knockout over a Harley Quinn any day out of the week here. And then we got Invisible Woman #1. We got and I have to say, this is the reprint version because why? This is the Halloween Fest version. So this is the actual reprint of Thor #1, God of Thunder. This is a reprint. That's not the actual one. That's the reprint. I needed this one here because I'm still trying to get the later volumes of X-Men here, which is X-Men 18. And then we got a Squadron Supreme #5. This was one of the ones that I was missing in that particular volume. Oh, yes, there's more to come here. Then we got Fantastic Four. I believe this is issue #6 or something like that. No, issue 5. Fantastic Four issue #5, which is historically issue 650. And that is Stan Lee tribute. And I believe this is the wedding of Ben Grimm and Elisa, I think is this one. I forgot who he got married to, but it tells a lot about the history of Ben, and he finally gets married to the real Elisa Masters. Then we have another copy of Marvel Must Have #5. That's another copy of that. And then we're getting closer and closer to dropping that magic number to below 100 issues. This is Wonder Woman issue 172, one that I was missing in the collection here. Yep. And see, we got, she is awesome. And yep, everybody's saying hi to her. And there's Don. We got the people coming in to see the books today. So this one I was actually missing here. And this one is a actual extra, which is 188. And this one actually has a little bit of tear, tape tear and everything. But outside of that, it is a decent copy. It is complete and everything. So we're getting there. We're getting there for volume 1 of Wonder Woman here. And now we got some more Birds of Prey stuff here. Some of this is duplicate. Some of this is duplicates, and some of this is stuff with actual books that I'm missing from the first volume here. So we got issue 46, 50, 51, 52, 53, 62, 76, 109, 111, 115, and then this is from volume 2. Everybody keeps saying it's from Brightest Day. It's like, no, Brightest Day was the crossover event, but that's issue 5, issue 12 from volume 2, and then we finally got a Dazzler #2, another Dazzler 3, Dazzler 4, Dazzler 17 with her and Warren Worthington fighting Doc Ock, which is kind of like a weird one there. And then I think this is the second one I got, this Dazzler 24 with her and Power Man and Iron Fist. And then we got issue 25. And then more of the Huntress series that Parallax was telling me about. So this is another copy of issue 2. Now I do have the full run of this because I was able to track the full set of 6 here. Issue 3 and issue 4 for the year 1. And then we get into some Gen 13 issues. A whole bunch of Gen 13 issues. Yeah, we just do all the Gen 13s together. So with the Gen 13s here, like I said, it's a lot of books here. Issue number 20, 46, in no particular order, 48, 56, 19, 28, 29, 31, 32, 35, 37, 29 from volume 34, I believe. 32, 35, because all of this is from the second one, second volume. 38, 39, 41, and 57, and another 13C. So that's a whole bunch of it. And now this is just the stack that's actually sitting here on my desk as of right now. So normally the average comic book pickups for the week would probably be something like this. No, we're still going. We're about to get into another good portion of books here. We got Catwoman number 5. Getting the glare out because I want you guys to see it. There's Catwoman 5. And this is Catwoman's 12. And then we got the Election Night number 1, followed up by Daredevil 254. I believe that this is the first Typhoid Mary issue, at least in story continuity. That is the first one. And then we got Fantastic Four 369 here, the reemergence of Malice. Again, another underrated character that they don't really use all that much. JLA 96, Squadron Sinister number 3, Supreme Power 13, 16, and 18, Trinity number 12. This is my second copy of Trinity 12. Captain Paragon issue number 4. So I almost got a full run of Captain Paragon now. This is my second copy of AV in 3D, only because of the mystery story that's in it. Then we got Black Dynamite number 1. This is a standalone issue because there is another Black Dynamite series out there, also by IDW, but this is the standalone story. So that's a one shot here. And then we got Spider-Woman 13, 39, Civil War 2 variant issue number 2, Gen 13, 33, 62, and 64. Vampirella Strikes number 1 from the Harris one. This is the second or third photo cover for Vampirella Strikes. We got Josie. Actually, it's Archie Giant series. It's not an actual Josie and the Pussycats by title as far as issue runs is concerned. This will fall up under the Archie Giant series, but this is number 597, which is a Josie and the Pussycats led story. And then we got an older Jughead 93. And then we got Showcase 93, number 9, featuring the Huntress. Showcase 94, issue number 5, featuring the Huntress. Showcase 94, issue number 6, featuring the Huntress. And another copy of Avengers 227. So significance of this is when Monica Rambeau finally joins the Avengers here. And then let's make certain we got here. It's like, I was like, you need that. Yep. He was like, I didn't know that existed. Yep. Yeah, it's like I had that caddy. Yep. No one knows Wendy is stabbed. Yeah. Oh no, Wendy is stabbed. It's like, yeah, that was the whole reason a certain pirate is like, oh, you have to have this one. It's like you got Wonder Woman in the cover stabbed. It's like, I'm not a cover collector, but I do have a run of JLA. So it's like, okay, fine, whatever. Yeah, it is the first Typhoid Mary. Cool. Now, we almost down at the bottom of this bag, so we're getting close to the end here. I know toward the bottom of the bag, we got a good run of what I consider Squadron Supreme related stuff here. So we got finally a Scotty Young A-Force 1. So we got Scotty. This one probably got to get graded here, the Scotty Young here. We got if people remember Radio Shack, we got the Science Fair of Electronics I believe this is issue number 11, and this is issue 10 of that series. And then we got the Crusaders from Impact Comics here. And the reason I got this is because it has the Jaguar up in it, and it was like all the Impact comic heroes in their first group. So we got Crusaders 1, 3, 4, and 6. So I'm only missing like a couple issues outside of that. We got issue number 2 of Neura X. This is from the second series here. So I have issue 1 and issue 2. I believe it's only 4 issues long, so I'm missing 2 issues out of that series. We got Star Masters number 1 from AC Comics. This is a single issue series here. So if you're into like Film Force and a lot of stuff, AC Comics did like a lot of Westerns and other books in addition to Film Force, and this is like one of those that they did here. We got Catwoman 31, Doom Patrol 70, Gen 13 number 30 from volume 4. I got another Night Evil number 3, Night Veil number 3. Why I say Night Evil, Night Veil number 3. And then we got Faith Dreamside issue number 3. And then we got a Red Sonja issue number 4. So we're getting closer to finishing that off. From a newer run of Spider-Man, we got issue number 8 and issue number 9. I think that's from the most current series of Spider-Woman. And yet there is more, and we're almost at the very bottom of this bag here. Like I said, it's over 100 something comics, and pretty much my hand is right here. So the stack of comics that's on my desk right now might actually get to the point where you might be able to see it on camera. You might be able to see it, but we got small little runs that, you know, Parallax might call these the old school VHS sets of runs of these series here. So we got Squadron Supreme. This is the volume 3. This is volume 3 because there was another series before this. So out of volume 3, we got issue 1 again, issue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we got from the book from Squadron Supreme, Hyperion versus Nighthawk. Again, this is the Marvel equivalent of Superman versus Batman in its own weird way. And I got the full miniseries here, which is issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then here we got volume 4 of Squadron Supreme, starting with issue number 1. I think this is a Howard Chaykin series at this point. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and 9. And then we got She and Cyblade all together for Battle of Independence here. I'm not certain what the significance of this book, but I just remember that some people just fell in love with it, but I don't know what it is. And then we finally got a full run of it now, so I can actually read it. This is Jessica Jones Blind Spot. Now, mind you, I had miscellaneous issues for Jessica Jones Blind Spot, but this is a full complete set here. So just to show you here, this is issue 1 variant, issue 2, issue 3, issue 3 variant, issue 4 variant, issue 5, and issue 6. So that is the full run of Jessica Jones Blind Spot. And like I stated before, this is it's a heavy pile, but that's what came in. That's what came in all this week here. So that is the key thing here with all of that here. My mother said, "You and your stupid hoodlum comic friends making sellers rich by buying their crap." I don't know. I know one thing. Words of wisdom to live by. Don't make her mom mad, because I have a comment for that, but I was like, you know what? I don't think she's going to take it with a lot of humor. I don't think she's going to take it with a lot of humor, considering the fact that she used to be in the game as a seller herself. So that's the reason I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. It's like, I could be making you rich, but no, you got out of the game. You got out of the game. Game recognized game, and you looking kind of unfamiliar right now. Who's that? Who's that saying that? Okay, and she says like the first appearance of Witchblade, super underrated book. Yeah, Battle, and that was the first battle of independence because I remember the most recent one. The most recent one, a lot of independent creators like myself got excluded from it because we didn't have much of a following, and they wanted to kind of like minimize our characters' roles in the actual storyline. Pretty much just like, you know, those that didn't have known characters would have just had cameos and nobody would have paid any attention to them. So who cares? But yeah, that one was worthwhile and everything here. But that's the cool thing about it. That's why I made you buy it. Well, you didn't make me buy that one because the last time that you and I was together when that book came up, I believe it was on the Pirate Show. I didn't get it there. I got that one from Rosie, if I remember correctly. No, I take that back. No, I got that. No, I got that from Searchlight. So I bought that off of Ben. Ben had an extra one. Yeah, Benny had an extra one. So yeah. And she's laughing. It's like, yeah, that's why it's so funny. Yep. Your mom could have been a very rich lady, but no, she got out the game. Money was too slow for her. She had to have her diamond rings and Rolls Royces here and now. She just couldn't have money rolling in several years later and take the strain anymore. It's just like, this business is too bleh. I need my money now. I can't wait to get paid for all of these rando books here. You know, people don't get paid on a regular schedule. I'm getting stuck with all these extra bills. But if she would have paid closer attention, she would have been living on easy street. Yeah, tell that to a comic creator like myself. We don't live on easy street by no means here. But that's what it is here. So hopefully she's laughing instead of getting pissed off. Trust me, her mom is not one that you want to piss off. You know, she could be your bestest friend, or she could be the worst of your worst enemies. He said that's why it's so funny. Yeah, it is. It is what it is here. But nevertheless, that was comic book pickups for the week here, and now we're at the part of the show where we're going to talk about 2025 and what to expect here. At least for me. 2025, I'm definitely going to get issue 5 done. I have been slacking on it because I haven't been in that mode of creativity again to finish issue number 5. I need to figure out financially how we're going to get the role-playing game off the ground. And when I say off the ground, I'm talking about printed up, hardcover, and all this other stuff. And I really don't want to go through crowdfunding to do this. And the reason I don't want to do crowdfunding is because you have to build a audience for it. And I don't have a built-in role-playing game audience already built that knows about Exigency Studios and everything that we do here. So that's kind of like that thing where it's like, even if I did crowdfund for it, I have to kind of like try to get people who are very, very rabid in role-playing games to get into it, to really hype it up, promote it, and all this other stuff by word of mouth, or else it kind of like dies by the wayside. I am willing to go a little bit slower with it. So that's the reason why I say once I get the money to kind of finance the actual printing of like a hardcover or even a soft cover version of it, I could get enough of those printed up where I could start putting it out there and trying to build up the build up the word behind it, and then go from there, have it on the company website and just sell it that way. Eventually want to get into the actual box sets and all the other stuff, like maps and game boards and all this other stuff, like the old school, how they was trying to do DC Heroes and everything. But the major concern here is, without the proper financial backing for the proper ISBN numbers and everything, I just don't want to come out there looking sloppy. I want to be as professional as possible when this book hits here. So if I just did like the core rule book and just the core rule book, I want it to be ready where it could be out there on an Amazon or a Barnes and Noble or all these other, stores, where only thing they have to do is just, buy it, scan it in, and it's in the system where we can keep track of numbers and everything to that magnitude. So that's the key thing here. So I have to worry about issue number 5 first, getting that out. And then issue 6 was really the goal, where we was trying to get everything in line anyway, for everything to be done together for like the role-playing game issue number 6. And then that by that time we could probably do like I said, that's the other thing. My other goal for 2025 is that I want to not do crowdfunding anymore. I got to the point where I realized that most people do not buy from me on crowdfunding platforms like that. It makes it easier to actually pay for like the printing and stuff to do the crowdfunding campaigns. But when I look at how the books are getting delivered and everything, most of the people who buy from me on the crowdfunding campaigns normally come to like a C2E2 to pick it up for me directly. It's only the ones that I would say like it's in the West Coast or like the East Coast that can't get to me are the ones that normally buy, because of the crowdfunding platform. I have to send it off to them. But the thing about it is, like, I think I could get them to buy from me directly without worrying about the extra fees and everything that I have to give, like a Kickstarter or Fund My Comic or a platform like that, where everything will be kind of mitigated. Because I think my mailing list is getting, quite tired of me talking about crowdfunding, and every time we do a crowdfunding campaign, it's like, oh, he's asking for money again. But it seems like everybody loves it when I'm showing them the new artwork and the new stuff that we're working on. But when it comes down to, hey, we're about to do X, Y, and Z as far as crowdfunding, that's when those numbers shrink and we get the unsubscribes and everything to that magnitude. So it's more along the lines of maybe crowdfunding is not the way for me to go as of yet, or at least the audience that I have, this very small, tiny bit of audience that I have, it has not grown to the point where they're rabid enough to get other people to buy through that platform. So maybe I start, and like I said, maybe I just need to really start pushing buy directly from our website and everything, and push people that way more so than anything else here. I'm not against, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against crowdfunding. I'm far away from that. I'm far away from that, because I have seen how crowdfunding can help those who need to get their projects off the ground, help them make their projects and be a success here. But at this point, in where I'm at as of right now, I know for a fact that the audience that I have as of right now are not 100% grounded and rooted in using, a Fund My Comic or Kickstarter or waiting for that next book to come out that way. Knowing good and well that my books would come out and I will probably be at like a C2E2 or New York or San Diego or some other big show that you can get my books that way. Or you can always contact me via the website and buy it that way, or jump onto one of our Whatnot shows and buy it from me that way. We have other avenues to buy the books here. So having the crowdfunding campaigns pretty much is only mainly for those who just can't wait, who can't wait, who just want that, hey, I already got it before it goes elsewhere type mentality. And I kind of wish I had a bigger following in that aspect where I wouldn't be discussing this, but it doesn't look like that is the case here. The other thing that we're going to be looking at is I have to make up my mind on a lot of different things here. Like, for example, how much more work I'm going to post on DeviantArt. The reason I made that a point of option for 2025 is that with them having AI tools on their website now, I'm not 100% feeling safe of putting my work out there anymore. Now, granted, they said that anything that's getting put into Stash will be used in their AI tools. And I have a problem with that. But also in the same aspect, there's nothing stopping somebody else to saying, hey, I'm going to favorite this and then put it in their stash. And then next thing you know, it's like, why is my work being used for AI work? So I also have to look at what I'm also going to do with Patreon, because I have been neglecting Patreon. But those who have been looking at my Patreon know that the more adult stuff, the more adult stories, the 17 plus and over stories are that I've been working on are there. And I'm up here debating, should I put more of my works in progress on Patreon than DeviantArt? I don't want to really give up DeviantArt because I built up a pretty good following there, and I do follow a lot of other artists there, and we do conversate and everything. But I have a major problem with, like I stated before, when we did the investigation of AI and AI tools, I don't want my work being used for AI without somebody expressly coming to me and saying, hey, I want to get a copyright. I'm going to pay you X, Y, and Z for it. Until that happens, no, I don't want to have my work on any platform where it can be manipulated and used in such a way where AI tools are being done. So it makes it kind of weird that I have to pick and choose now of what I show and what I don't show. And it may get back to the point where I have to start using this show to show, works in progress again, just to protect myself. But, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, you can't overly worry about copyrights and stuff to that magnitude and infringement. You just have to deal with it as it comes. But it's something to, that I'm thinking about with 2025 here. And for those who are fans of Amazonia, yes, I am going to start back to drawing here. I've been doing sketch covers and everything. I've been slowly getting myself reacclimated to actual drawing here. And like the desk behind me, I have to figure out a way to keep the desk behind me where I could actually do whatnot shows as well as still do artwork on top of it and everything. So I just have to figure that out as of right now. But Amazonia 8, I am trying to schedule my start date to be sometime in February. So that's when I'm actually going to break out the Bristol boards and just go to town, which means that between now and let's say mid-February, I have to, get out of my own mindset and just get Primetime Saturday Night 5 done. The good thing about it is that we're almost at the end of this issue. It's just a matter of figuring out how I'm going to end a lot of these matches and just go ahead and just doing the graphics and just going and just getting the stuff lettered and done with. But my major concern here is like once the graphics are done, the lettering stuff goes by real quick. And then it's just a matter of giving it over to Elaine, have her to edit it, make certain that all the story beats and everything makes sense. Like I said, I just don't have a copy editor. I make certain that she reads it and she understands what the characters are doing, what the character, if the storylines and everything makes sense, stuff to that magnitude. Because it's one thing to have a copy editor, but it's a different aspect when you have a editor who will look at the stuff. It's like, be like, why is the sound effect like this here when it should be like that? Or why is she saying this when it should be the opposite? You know, Juggernaut would not have said something like that because back in issue number 4, she said something like this. So you have to, go back and rethink about this, and this, or she wouldn't have that type of attitude because when she won this match over there in issue 0, she said that. Those are the types of editors that need to come back to comics to keep things in order and making sense and not constantly changing things here. So, that's one of the key things here for 2025 that I also have to worry about here. I also have to make certain that I finish paying for C2E2 for this year. I believe C2E2 is in April. So that means there's a lot of work to get done and a lot of books to get printed for C2E2 2025. Hopefully you guys see me there. If you can make it out there or not, that's one thing, but that's the next step in the process here. As far as our next appearance here, next live appearance that we're going to be in the general public. Outside of that, I really don't know what more is going to be done other than, a lot of the mental changes that I have to go through here. I definitely got to buckle down as far as the actual work that I produce and everything. As far as the, give you a second here. As far as the live streaming and everything, I'm still going to produce Comic Book Spectrum. I'm still going to be doing that. Speaking of which, I'm actually working on a presentation for this upcoming Thursday show here. I would need to talk to Elaine to see if I need to add her stuff to this presentation and everything. And we're just going to have fun with it. Now, what does that mean from the desk of a small press publisher? Am I going to slow down? Because if you truly think about it, I've been doing From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher for what? Getting close to a decade now. We're getting close to a decade without missing a Saturday. And I'm up here thinking it's like, maybe it's time for me to take a vacation from this. But then again, I'm up here more along the lines, I shouldn't take a vacation because it becomes a weekly thing here. It becomes kind of like one of those weekly, a Saturday is not a Saturday without having, From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, and trying to find that balance. Because when I truly think about it, it's like some of the Saturday, and because it's Saturday evening, I just don't mind it because I could probably do like a show and then go right to bed or finish a show. And because I'm normally up until maybe like 1, 2 in the morning, I actually get more comic book work done, or get things done as far as the collection and everything done, or do all the other stuff that I do comic book related during that time. It kind of works out. But now, since I'm thinking, it's like, well, if I don't have to worry about the show, does that give me extra time to really work, extra time to really rest and recover and all this other stuff here? And to be quite honest with you, even when I do shows like C2E2, I still do From the Desk here. So it's kind of like one of those things here. It's like, should I actually be, taking breaks and hiatuses on this show? A part of me says no, but I'm beginning to believe, because of the day and age and just the wear and tear, that I might have to here. Some of the subject that we might have on the show now also changed too, because I've noticed that when I talk more about the industry, you guys love it. When I talk more about collecting, you love it, but you don't want to know a lot about production. And I need to get more into the production side of things here. And that's kind of like how I kept my accountability as far as getting the work done. Was I used to be able to do it on the show, and now I pretty much gave up on how he does it, because that was a Patreon only setup here. And with it being a recorded type video, I really don't feel comfortable, because I like live shows. I like this interaction that you guys have with me live, where I'm up here looking at the chat and everything to that magnitude and responding to you guys on the chat and everything. when I do how he does it, it's not the same feel. It's more like, okay, I'm up here showing how I'm doing stuff, but yeah, not getting any type of feedback or reaction. And because it's also pre-recorded, it's not the same. It's just like, okay, I'm showing you what I did here, and it's like nobody's up here. It's like, hey, you didn't call that right, stupid type comments are not coming through during that time, and it's not the same. So I'm just debating on should I bring that back or not, and it's kind of like one of those things here. And and we got Parallax kind of smiling because she kind of knows where I'm going with this, because when I used to do this live, it was like people thought I was not paying attention to the chat and everything, but I really was. I just didn't react that way. I wanted people to ask questions. I wanted people to really talk and everything, but it's not the same. Just like when I get to the point where I start inking again, I probably do the inking live again. And I still feel that if I was doing the inking live, that the same thing would happen. If I did it on Clip Studio Paint, did it live, did it live, and where you guys could see what was going on, the same thing would happen. It would be more along the lines you guys thinking that I'm not paying attention to the chat, but I really am. But we've crossed that bridge. We've crossed that bridge. Outside of that, those are pretty much my goals as far as the production side here. As far as collecting side is concerned, oh boy, a lot of stuff is about to get cut. And when I say get cut, I'm talking about as far as books I pick up. And I believe that you guys started noticing it too. I have been focusing more on the titles that I wanted to maintain my runs in. So if you've been paying attention to comic book pickups for the week, you have been seeing a lot of Gen 13, a lot of Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, X-Men, Red Sonja, Marvel Red Sonja more so than Dynamite, Catwoman and stuff like that, because I have long runs of that. And I understand it's like, well, where's the Avengers? Where's the Amazing Spider-Man? It's like, I'm not a Spider-Man fan. And it's like, I might pick up a random book here or there. But my goal, like I said, I have particular goals in mind for my personal collection here. And with that being stated here, we will be having more and more whatnot sales for those books that I know for a fact I would not care too much to keep in the collection as well. And Elena said, it's like, okay, I'm in the chat. It's like I would have chimed in sooner, but I was working on a proposal. See, that's the reason why I don't bother her too much, because she's always working. She's always getting work done. That's why I don't bother her as much here. But now, since you're here, Elaine, for Thursday's show, I need to know if you want to be a part of the presentation that I'm setting up, because Clyde sent me all these different images for what he wants to show as best of for 2024. I need to know if you're going to do the exact same thing, and then that way I can add it into that presentation, add it into the presentation, and we're going to have our first annual Specky Awards to look a little bit more professional in that aspect here. So let me know if you do have particular books. Make sure you give me the images and what those books are getting awarded for. So that will work. That'll work here. Yeah. I'm not going to ruin the surprise for anything that I do know of that other people have shown me up to this point, and what I've been working on and everything to that magnitude. But the key thing is that we need to get everything kind of like in a nice little pretty type picture type deal, and we're going to make it do what it do. how I always try to get it done. But nevertheless, I was looking at what I was doing here. Yeah. I thought that's the one thing that I was hoping that people picked up on the thumbnails and everything that we have on YouTube for this upcoming Thursday show is that yes, this is going to be the first annual Speckies. Now I know that Comic Book Spectre has done the best and worst for in previous years, but they have not been consistent on it. And the only reason I said it hasn't been consistent is because of the simple fact that I was not given the reins of the show until just recently. When it was up under the founders control, they did a lot of stuff that we haven't been doing with the show, but when we do it, we're going to do it a lot better. I'm not going to say bigger, but we're probably going to end up doing it a lot better and a lot clearer. Yeah, my favorite books were either vintage or on Kindle. Well, remember the whole thing with 2024 was if you reviewed any books that came out in 2024 that you feel was either the best for 2024, that's what the presentation is for. So those things that you did review that came out in 2024, those are the ones that we want. But if you haven't reviewed anything from this year, then I think you're going to be okay, because even if it was on Kindle, if it came out on Kindle this year, it qualifies. The vintage stuff, yeah, I know you did a lot of vintage stuff. I did a few vintage things, but Clyde and I know for a fact have done books in 2024. But I'm not certain if the Kindle stuff that you did is that okay. You didn't do any. Okay, so you're going to be a-okay here. So it's pretty much I just have to make certain that Clyde's stuff is together and my stuff is together for this here. And mine's a kind of like a short list here, more so than anything else, but it's going to be what it's going to be here. But I'm going to have it ready for Thursday. I'm probably going to spend the rest of today doing that, and everything to that magnitude. But you also need to be on my case about not having Primetime Saturday Night 5 done as of yet. Because like I said, I have to get Amazonia 8 done. I want to get that done before the end of March. And if I don't get to it by mid-February, that's not going to happen. So I just need everybody to kind of be like, hey, where's everything's going with all of these books and everything, because I just can't sit back and wait anymore on a lot of these different different side projects anymore. I mean, there's a lot more stuff that's happening in the long run, and I just need to make certain that I get these things taken care of. And what I'm actually doing now is I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this while I'm live, but I was looking at a few different things here dealing with this presentation, but nevertheless. And Lane is saying here, it's like, yeah, I got a story page of, we got a story page for AtCon done, getting the PDF ready for the beta read, so I will have time. Okay, good. Because my major concern at this point is not to like overly burden you with a lot of stuff, because you got a lot of books coming out too. Yeah, I know you're going to be leaning on your editor. And yes, she does have her own editor and everything. She does have her own editor and everything. So it's going to be interesting nonetheless. But everything will get worked out. Everything will get worked out. Everything will get worked on, and we'll have everything ready by then. And she's saying it's like I might even have a few bucks to really help with C2E2 this year. Yep. Okay. So with that, getting back to where we was at. So talking about the collection and everything. So I'm buckling down to those series that I actually want to keep going here. So that means like the Wonder Woman, that I'm not giving up on Wonder Woman. I'm trying to get back into the at least the Uncanny X-Men and everything here. I haven't given up on Spider-Woman. I haven't given up on Red Sonja. I'm getting close to completing Gen 13. I'm getting close to completing Dazzler. I'm getting close to completing a lot of stuff with Kamala Khan. As far as Carol Danvers, I'm not going too much further than Miss Marvel. And the only Captain Marvel stuff that I'm probably either going to attempt to get is to get the Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps. I have to finish that one. That story I approve. I love Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps. That one I approve. That was a good series. Outside of that, if there's another She-Hulk series, I'll probably think about doing that here. But pretty much. Oh, and Catwoman. I still have to finish off Catwoman. Catwoman, I believe, is just like the last 2 volumes. The current run, and I believe I have everything else. I know I have the original first miniseries, all of the Belant series I have, New 52 I have. It's just the last 2. The last 2 series is where I kind of get kind of fuzzy, but I have that all in CLZ as of right now, so it is what it is here. And I'm not a completionist, so I'm not trying to go back to get all the different annuals and everything to that magnitude. I just want a contiguous run of the actual titled book. So if it's like free, if anything, if I do get extras, it'd probably just be like extra Uncanny X-Men from Volume 1, or extra stuff that other people may want here. And that's one of the reasons why haven't been like really upset about going to Whatnot, because like I said, I'm selling my extra books out of my collection. Not really the biggest keys per se, but if you're trying to do a lot of gap filling, especially in series that I do majorly collect, I got you covered. And that was one of the things that I was telling Parallax here. Evening Victoria, sorry, I guess I was hogging the chat. Nope, he wasn't hogging the chat. He wasn't hogging the chat at all. But the key thing here is, like I was telling Parallax, I had somebody contact me dealing with the dealing with asked for She-Hulk, and I showed him what I got, didn't hear back from him. So it's like, like I said, I don't have time for people who are like half in and half out. I only deal with the people who are serious. So, if the person contacts me back, so be it. If not, oh well. The stuff that he was asking for was more the graded stuff, and I already have plans for the graded stuff here. And there she goes, the unwanted nickname that she has for Elaine. You know what? And I shouldn't be picking. I shouldn't be picking on this here, but I got a way to use that now. I got another way to use that here, and they know how I am. I'm going to use that on something that they do know about here. And let's just say that it might some of that might appear in issue 6. So that's pretty much what it's going to be here. But that's pretty much what I have as far as stuff that's going to change in 2025. Well, some of the really weird and random stuff that could happen here. Will I go back to competitive action when it comes to fighting games? I don't see that happening, because if I did get back into actual competitive activity in that aspect here, like competing in like the bigger tournaments, that would be time taken away from actually working on comics, which is something that I don't want to do. So I don't see myself really getting overly involved. Will I, play every here and there? Yeah. But, the way that I used to be, where I used to go to all these different tournaments and everything and compete. I might only go just to kind of like sell comic books and get like an artist table or something like that. But as far as actual being competitive and competing and spending the time on it, not so much. Reason being is that unlike some of my other artist friends that does do this here, I have a lot more responsibility to get the work done and making certain that those who I hire to do like the coloring and all the other stuff have something to actually color. And it's a lot more responsibility in that aspect. And it takes, I was like, I really just don't have the time and dedication to sit and really get into like the nuts and bolts of every little aspect of some of these fighters anymore. But it is what it is. He actually made a change to what he's doing, Elaine, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, he's more encompassing. He's not just focusing in on fighting games anymore. He's in gaming in general, and he just recently started back streaming a lot of the gaming and everything. So it's like he got like his brother into like this one RPG was the last stream that I saw of his about like a month ago. So it's not as simple as that here. And trust me, if I really wanted to get into the nitty gritty, he would be one of the first people I would be contacting. So it's not just about not having time. It's just more. It's not about just having the time. It's just the dedication that you have to put into it. It is time consuming. I mean, you have to be like on every update, every note, every change, and things change from update to the game, to these games now. So what once worked, 2 months ago doesn't work now, and even the smallest change can affect how you go about playing your characters in these fighting games here. So that's why I say it's like I have to take that step back, that random step back. Will I still be doing random gaming streams? Probably so. Probably so. Will I still fight on random online leagues when, for shits and giggles or during downtime on like a weekend? Sure. But being serious about it like I used to be, can't do it. No money to really do it, to do all the travel and everything, and I have to keep everything going for the comic books here. You can't do it all. Can't do it all. That's one of the things, especially since I'm getting closer and closer to another milestone birthday. It's like time for burning the candle at both ends got to stop. Yeah, I just got to cut one side off and be like, you know what? We're just only doing this side. Yeah, I know we're talking about riots. Yep. Yeah, I mean it's funny. It's funny, but like I said, people who downplay, the gaming crowd really don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand it. And they don't understand that it can be a very lucrative business. The problem is it is time consuming to set up and keep it monitored and working the way that it should, especially when it comes to streaming. Streaming can impact your, if I could say, your personal time and your personal well-being, because people get overly attached to what you're doing as opposed to seeing that it's just a escape or a time frame where you can escape, watch what they do, and then they walk away and have the rest of their personal lives. But because you have to do it on a consistent basis, because you have to be overly consistent and overly consistent, both in as far as frequency and content, it's a drudge. It's even more of a drudge than doing this show, because you have to be on top of it, stream constantly, when constantly be up to date on a lot of different things, handling the hecklers and naysayers and all this other stuff. Dealing with when you do lose or get humiliated in a few rounds, that you just have to rise above it mentally. So it is a drain. It is a slog to deal with. Not as much of a slog as trying to sell people your work and everything, but it is a different type of slog. It is a different type of mentality that you have to have, and you have to be tough as nails. You have to be very tough. And it's like, when I say very tough, you have to be more like that sporting type tough. Don't let as they say, don't let shit talking get on your nerves and everything to that magnitude. Because again, one of the things that I can say about gaming is that the younger set, they make too much into the trash talking and everything. I mean, granted, these video games and stuff, at least with the fighting games and everything, they are like how we used to be when we were going out playing like little league baseball and basketball and street football and stuff like that. Get a little bit of trash talk, but there's supposed to be respect there. Nowadays, when people up here playing things like Call of Duty or Street Fighter and all these different video games, that stuff is not there, because again, you're not face to face with an individual. You're not physically there with that individual. So people tend to be a heck of a lot bolder and don't understand that it's like, hey, there's that fine line. It's like, you're not supposed to go across this one line. It's a one thing to be competitive and trash talk, and then then once you cross it, it's like, dude, you're really being offensive, and what happens after that, you deserve to get. If somebody throws a punch, it's like, you deserve that punch because you crossed that line. But that's a whole different thing. But that's me being old school. That's the older school mentality. I'm not saying don't trash talk. If you can help it, don't do it. But if you do, just remember, don't cross that line. Keep it nice, keep it friendly. But when you go below the belt, don't expect people to be like, oh, I was just only trash talk. It's like, no, there's a fine line between trash talk and being offensive. And once you get into that offensive realm, it's like all bets are off. It is what it is. But nevertheless, here, that's where things are at this point in time. And at this point, I think that covered everything that's going to be goal related for 2025. So what do you guys got on your mind here? What do you guys want to talk about before I end the show here? Because I think that's pretty much it. I don't have too much more to say as far as that is concerned, because I got actual work to do here. And I don't want to bring in the actual work and everything, because I told you guys I won't do that. I'm going to stick to my word. That this show will not be, me doing like, drinking draws and all the other stuff. It's going to be us talking to one another. So what is on your guys' minds as far as goals for 2025, or things that you would like to see me to do in 2025? Now, don't everybody speak up at once, because I am looking at the chat here and it's like nothing is happening. Nothing is really happening here. So I will wait for an answer here. That's to see if anybody is actually paying attention. So if we don't get an answer anytime soon, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap everything up here. Can we get strippers? We're not doing anything that's drywalling, so I don't think we could get a stripper in that aspect here. Aha. Aha. See, she tried to get me to slip up, people. I'm on my game today. It's like, I'm going to be like, rest in peace to Kimbe Matamo. It's like, no, not today. No, but seriously, I don't think we need strippers or anything to that magnitude here. But I don't know. When it comes, and I'm going to bring the topic back to something that is that is akin to what she was asking. I really don't think that we need to truly get booth babes anymore for major conventions per se. It'd be nice to have people to cosplay as your characters, but at the same time, it's like not everybody can sell your book the way that you can. And once you have your acumen down for selling the books, it's easier to teach other people how to sell it. That's the way that I think about it. But yeah, I get it. Whose book has furries up in it? Whose book has furries? Don't I mean if you're gonna have pole dancing werewolves, that's on you. That's on you, especially if you're going to do like pole dancing werewolves that's akin to the makeup that they have in the Howling. I'll be like, I don't know if C2E2 would go for something like that. We might have to wait to go to erotica or something like that to do something of that magnitude. But that's a whole different aspect and a whole different ball game when we come to that here. Like, wow, that's not nice. That's not nice, Parallax. That's not nice. No, they don't. Like it throws them not. Well, and maybe in your case because you fawned over them so much. Maybe in that case, I could probably see that being a thing here. I could probably see that being a thing for you, but outside of that, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not one. I'm just not one to say, yeah, we need to get this when it's really not needed. But saying all that to say is that you never know, and always promote your work the way that you see fit to promote your work. It's not up to anybody else to say yay or nay for something that your intellectual property does. That's just me. That's just me. That's just how I look at things. That's just the way that I feel about things. Does not necessarily mean that I'm right. Does not necessarily mean that I'm incorrect either. But get whatever mileage you can out of how you see your work going. That's one of the reasons why I try not to use analogies when I pitch Amazonia, because it's not like anything else per se. It's kind of like its own entity. And it's funny when you ask other people what they think of the book and you have them to describe it, because when you hear their description, either they're going to be spot on or so way off that it's like, hey, maybe you need to reread the book. But that's just me. That's just me, and just how I kind of see what's what here. But outside of that, I think that's pretty much going to be it for the oh, we got some more. We got some more. Here I was offering, yeah, you were like his are sweet and cuddly. If you don't piss them off, don't shed, but don't shed as bad as huskies. That's if you don't piss them off. That's if you don't piss them off. But that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, Elaine. I mean, that's something that you're definitely into. You're definitely into that. So you would know more so than I would. So now I'm up here I shouldn't be up here kind of like working and talking at the same time, but I'm not certain if there's any other questions here, because I know that Elaine would be talking about lycanthropes all night long if you allow her to. But is there anything else that you guys would like to see me at least attempt to do in 2025, or anything that you want to talk about that could happen in 2025? Okie dokie. We'll catch you on Thursday. Leia, I will holler at you tomorrow. Uh-oh. You in trouble. You're in trouble. She's in trouble, people. She's in trouble. But nevertheless, I guess nobody else has any other further comments here. So we're now officially in 2025. And I will say this. With a wait, hold on. Meow meow. Okay, what's that? Okay, so I'm not certain if that. I guess she was acknowledging Elaine here, so I'm not certain if she was asking a question or not. Nah, I made something I hope she likes. Okay. Yes, so they have been listening. I'm up here. It's like they're up here like, well, I guess they don't have any questions or anything. Yeah, I'm about to get ready to wrap it up, but I had opened up the door for questions. It is 20. It's like happy Boo Eater. Yep. But saying all that to say, it is 2025. It is a brand new year. Nobody can tell you that this is going to be a bad year because you make this year what you're going to make of it. We're at the very beginning of it. So that tells me that there's plenty of opportunity to get the best out of everything here. And there's also a lot of opportunity to make it the worst. It's up to you to make it the way that you want. See, no questions at this time for Team Sunstrider. 2025. Yeah, I know that happened on the New Year's Eve program. I know that. One, one, two, one. People would not know the significance of what that means here. But to say the long story short about 1, 2, 3, 4 is one of the ways that Beanie has actually sell the argument between myself and Parallax. and you have to understand the context. You have to understand the context of the argument to understand why that is so funny. It's like so that yes, clear is a color. Clear is a color. People are like, clear is not a color. How do you get the color transparent? It has to be clear. I have racial. I get. I proved it to Ucky. I was like, yeah, clear is a color. Because if you believe in transparency as far as hue is concerned, the brightness and everything, clear has to be a color. Or else, why would we have such saying as something happening out of the clear blue sky? Like clear can't be a color. It's like, yeah, it's clear and blue. Oh, I could buy a can of clear spray paint at the hardware store. Exactly. Better yet, better yet, to prove your point even more so, I could go to either like a Blix or a Utrix and buy what's called a colorless blender. And what color is that? It's clear. Clear is a color. Clear is a color. Transparent is a color. It just means that it's just transparent. It has no a pacency to it. Just like I could go to the same store and buy a 10% gray, a 20% gray. Clear is a color. It is what it is. Yeah, I get them fancy acrylic markers from. Yeah. Speaking of which, my workaround for not having a white Prismacolor marker because they don't make them, and I'm angry. Now they're about to get me on a rant. I am angry at Copic. I am angry at Prismacolor. I am angry at most marker makers. Why is it that we could get a white crayon? We could get a white color pencil. But when it comes to like the oil-based Prismacolor or Copic markers, we cannot get a solid white. We could get all these other offshoots, but we can't get a solid white. So for the one sketch color that I was working on where I was not happy, and speaking of which, that was the Bliss sketch cover that I did on the Powerpuff Girls. I had to end up getting one of these. I'm trying to get the glare out of it. This acrylic paint marker, which is solid white. So I had to buy a box of that to kind of replace what I couldn't get Prismacolor to do, like the actual eyes and the white pants and everything, and the whites that's in that particular drawing. And it makes me angry that you can't get a Prismacolor white or a Copic white. I ended up getting my very first Copic marker, which was an off-white, and it wasn't white enough. Matter of fact, to prove Parallax's point, it was almost transparent. It was almost clear when I actually was using it. It was not a solid white. It was not like how this comes out, like white. So that makes me angry. He was like stupid Beanie logic. Beanie is not stupid. Stupid and Beanie does not belong in the same sentence. Beanie is still learning, but it's not stupid. So Elaine, I went up in weight class for, yeah. No, this is PA Gather. This is PA Gather, I believe. That's the brand. I'm trying to get it to focus here. It's probably not going to focus just right, but that's the type of market. But now, since you may mention it, I'm probably going to look for that now because I need to keep that up. I might have to look for that, but it's like dealing with sketch covers of different colors. I need something that is like one coat cover. I use Crayola, I use Prismacolor color pencils, and it wasn't getting dark enough on the sketch cover. So that's the reason why I was up here. It's like I was looking for that. Says liquid paper. Liquid paper could work, but you have to think about liquid paper is you're adding like an extra layer, and it doesn't always sit flat. And you have to get like the ones that are actually have like the brush where it's not like overly fine, and you can move it in such a way to keep it within the lines here. Cold white, okay. That's why I say it's like I said, Beanie is learning, but she's not stupid. Let her learn. Yeah, she is very smart. Something in 2 Disney movies. Yep. Yeah. It's like the whole Bruno thing. I remember you telling me about the whole Bruno. It's like if nobody's supposed to be talking about Bruno, why are they singing about him? I was like, that's Beanie. Yep. Hey, sword in the stone. She says, "Mommy, if the sword is in the stone, why is it that anvil?" That's a good question. That's a good question, but that goes back to English myth that Arthur's father, before he was dethroned, he said before anybody could use the sword against his kingdom, he literally stabbed this one stone, and like you said, it almost like became like kind of like an animal. He stabbed the one stone with Excalibur, and said that anybody who is worthy enough that can remove it from this stone can be is the next king of England. That's according to myth. Mommy, yeah, that's the one that I was like, you know what? She's very smart for that one. It's like we're not supposed to be talking about Ruben. Why does everybody see the whole story about him? I was like, brilliant, brilliant. Disney movie made it an anvil. The original story is a large, yeah, stabbed a large boulder, yeah. But that's the whole thing. The Disney movie tried to make it more palatable, but at the same time, it ruined the myth of it. It was a large stone that he stabbed, that Uthor stabbed with it. And now, why are people trying to summon me at this point? Okay, that's no, that's what that's I see why I was summoned. They were just showing me the cover of the Sword in the Stone. And it's like, yeah, they did an annual. As like I said, Disney. I just don't. It was what it was. Yeah, that's why Bean was like, "That's not a rocket." Exactly. That see, I'm not going to point out. I'm not going to point out any other. I'm not going to point out any other Disney mistakes because people are probably going to argue me down, such as the whole Ilsa song. It's like you're creating a snowstorm and everything, but yet you got a muffler and a throw over you, but yet you're saying the cold doesn't bother you anyway. It's like, mm-mm-mm-mm. You're dressed out to be outside in the cold, and the cold doesn't bother you anyway. Why are you dressed? Why do you have kind of like a little bit of winter clothes on? But that's just me. Yeah, yeah, the cold never bothered me anyway, but yet you have like the mufflers around her arm and whatever shawl that she had on. That's like, but yet the cold doesn't bother you anyway. Why aren't you just without that? Yeah, the mittens. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The cold doesn't bother you anyway. It's like, okay, you're supposed to be like that out there, like your summer clothes. Like, yeah, the cold doesn't bother me anyway. So I was like, yeah, stupid stuff. Well, I wouldn't say wholesome because older Disney movies had subliminal messages up in a lot of the animation that people don't realize that is there. A lot of subliminal messages, but it is what it is. The stone could have been a stone and not an animal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Merlin did not have to be a caricature of himself. He didn't have to be a if I could say a slapstick version of himself. He could have been the Merlin that everybody wanted. Just like the whole Merlin and Morgan Le Fay fight. To me, that fight should have stole the movie, but they made it so slapstickish that it's just like, I don't know about this. I just don't know. But that's getting back to my recollection to Sword in the Stone, and from watching it many years ago. Again, it's like even now when I go back to watch the original 101 Dalmatians and everything, with the husband, how the husband created the song Cruella de Vil while she was there, and it was just like, yeah, if I was Cruella and I was there and I knew that the husband would take your pot shots out of me, at me like that, it would have been hell to pay. It would have been a lot more hell to pay. Yeah, it's like I put them back in the 11 minutes that they cut out with the Black Cauldron. Yep, it was finished. Yeah. They're like, if she doesn't scare you, he will think. He goes upstairs and be like, yeah, it's like they didn't even use migraine, they used Madam Mim. Yeah. Morgan. Yeah, it's like it's just Morgan. It's like it's just weird. Cruella was scaring him to make. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And the thing about it is like the thugs that she had, they were stupid, but she wasn't. She wasn't stupid. She was very, manipulative and very cautious about a lot of stuff. And it would just that scene would have, yeah, that's the scene that's another scene that they're going to cut out from this point forward because it's not politically correct here. I believe they would cut that scene out, and they would cut out a lot of different scenes of Aristocats now, and they would cut out a lot of scenes. I think they cut out some scenes to Lady and the Tramp now the because of the way that they portrayed some of the species of cats in there. I have not heard that. I have not heard that. Oh, since Elaine is here, maybe we should talk about that before we leave here. Now, Parallax and we got into a conversation about the difference between the Tim Burton Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the original one with Gene Wilder. And we came to an agreement. It's like I don't disagree with her about the reasons why she doesn't like the Tim Burton one, but I was telling her I have a soft spot for the Tim Burton one because the Tim Burton one talked about the one thing that the Gene Wilder version did not do that was also in the book, was talk about family, about how Charlie grew, not how Charlie, but how Willie grew up and how he grew up and everything. And I think that was the, made me have a soft spot for the Tim Burton one, even though there's a lot of things that I didn't like in the Tim Burton one. Like, for one, they modernized every one of those Oompa Loompa songs. And I was just like cringing. Every time they did the Oompa Loompa song, I would cringe because they modernized it so much that it didn't have the same impact like the original one does. Because the original Oompa Loompa songs really talked about the parenting of the kids. The modernized ones were just talked about how they messed up, and they didn't really talk about how poor parenting caused it. It was just like, oh, such and such did this, that, and the other, blah 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 blah, this and this, and you just couldn't do this. It's like it's not the same thing, and then they modernized it so that you just didn't like it. You just couldn't like it. It was just ugh. But he did a great job as his father. And then when he came back, it came back to see him for the first time in so many years. It's like, I haven't seen molars like this since Willie. Is that you? It's like, wait, you know your son by his teeth. you couldn't recognize him when you see him face to face, but you have to see his teeth to recognize him. That's the thing. Yeah, but for a modern audience, they should have done the same. Charlie should have done the same thing Willie did when he retired. As you get a new group. Well, that's the whole thing. I don't think that they can do the continuation of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I really don't. At least not in movie format. I don't think those stories would kind of fit in the same way. Oh yeah. They would try if they did Wizard of Oz nowadays, the original Wizard of Oz, and try to modernize it, they would try to do a rap version of the Lollipop Guild. It wouldn't work. That was one of the best part. It's like the whole thing about Oompa Loompa Dumpity Doo was an indication that you're about to understand what moral that the kid failed at, and that what the Gene Wilder version was classic for, because all the other winners, they had major moral flaws to them based upon the way that they grew up. But I like the Tim Burton one better for some of the ways of how he handled it, because Gene Wilder was, he comes off like, the wise guy, that the wiser male genius that understood the nature of things a little bit more so than the parents and whatnot, while Johnny Depp was the eccentric but awkward person. And it made sense for him to be awkward because of the simple fact that he didn't have family. And that was truer to the books. He was kind of like that awkward person. And Johnny Depp played that aspect right. And that's why I said I had a soft spot for it. Because it's like when the kids and stuff really was trying to tell us, like, it's not really like that. It's like, see, that's where you're going with mumbling. And I really don't understand what you're saying. It's like you really need to know how to enunciate your words. With him saying that, while Gene Wilder would have corrected, his Willy Wonka would have corrected the child. Johnny Depp said that instead. To say is like, you really don't know what you're talking about. You mumble, and it's like it comes off to me as a mumble because you don't know. You don't understand. And then when they do something wrong, it's almost like, oh dear, I need to hurry up. If it's like let's get you down there. Let me find the right key. It's like, oh, that's not the right key for that. Not the right key for that. And it's like you could tell that he knows exactly what's about to happen, but at the same time, wanting the parents to see the error of their ways. Unlike the Gene Wilder version, and like the Gene Wilder was kind of like a catch-22. It was reinforced with the Oompa Loompa song, but Gene Wilder, he wasn't like as awkward. I wouldn't say awkwardly, but it wasn't done purposely. to keep the parent from suffering the fate of the child. It's like he was kind of like more narrating like what probably going to end up happening here, as opposed to Johnny Depp allowing it to happen. Because there was more than enough time to stop the individual from doing what they were doing. But he wanted to make certain that, you know, that the parents saw what's about to get ready to happen. Because if you remember with the whole thing with Violet, there was more than enough time for her to spit out the gum. If you remember the Johnny Depp version, she had ample time to spit out that gum. Even after she got to the blueberry pie, there was more than enough time for her to spit out the gum and everything would have been fine. And he kept giving the parent clues. It's like, hey, you might want to step in. It's like, there is a major problem with this. You know, I'm kind of afraid that this is going to happen. You kept giving them warning after warning after warning, and they did nothing. And, you know, that's why I say I have a softer spot for the Tim Burton one than the one that had Gene Wilder, even though Gene Wilder to me is the better version to show kids. I truly believe that here. Yes, I agree. A soft reboot. I would like to see a soft reboot of that, especially as Charlie Buckets as a kid, not Charlie Buckets as an adult, but, you know, when he first takes over. That's the type of stuff that I would like to see with Willy Wonka. Stupid autocorrect, yeah. Is The Wiz really a modernized version of Wizard of Oz? Or is The Wiz more or less a R&B version? I look at it as the latter. It's more of like an R&B version of the actual Wizard of Oz as opposed to the original. Because I think the original was 1940 something, and Wiz was like 1973. My dates could be off, but I know one one was in the 40s and the other one was in the 70s. Yep. I wouldn't say that, but Mabel King as Mabel King as the Wicked Witch was perfect. Don't you bring me no bad news. There's nothing. There's going to be nothing like it. And rest in peace, Mabel King. I don't think there's not too many people that could really, really pull off that song like she can. Did they do another version of? I don't know. I know that they did a prequel recently, but I don't think they did another version of Willy Wonka. I don't think there was a version of Willy Wonka that was after Charlie Buckets got the factory. I don't remember anything after. I don't even remember one prequel which just recently came out, which was Willy before the factory. Exactly. I would give you that. Wilder was the master of his own of that factory here. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So 1939 to 1970s, and you have to be mindful. 1970s, I would even have to go maybe late 1960, because remember, The Wiz hit Broadway first before it became a movie. So you have to, yeah, it's just like if you consider it modernization, it's like Wizard of Oz was never a Broadway show. It was a movie. So the Wiz was, if you have to really say it's modernized, if it was truly modernized, it probably was modernized for the sake of making it a Broadway show or or a stage play. So yeah, but it wouldn't have the same effect as if you did the original 1939 and did it in 2025. I don't think it's going to sit well. I don't think that would sit well. All that, yeah. One for column A, one for column B. Yeah. Wiz is 1975. Yep. Exactly. I mean, she was to me the right pick for them to play the Wicked Witch in that version, because she really wasn't evil. She just knew exactly what she was going to do and when she was going to do it. Yeah, Wonka. That's the movie. That's the recent movie that just came out, Wonka. They never did the Charlie Runs the Factory. Exactly. That's like I said, I don't remember they ever didn't doing anything after Charlie wins the factory. That that was that was Wilder. Wilder would say that. Johnny Depp was saying that. Oh, there you go with that mumbling again. Yeah, it's been a coincidence that there's a 30th anniversary of that movie. Yep. Uh they all, it's like they do all adjacent odds, not because of no one was on board with the remake of the Julie Garland movie. Yeah, I mean, why are you going to mess with a classic? Gene Wilder goodness, exactly. That's one of the reasons why I didn't like the Tim Burton one. It's because they did not do the whole thing with, they missed two key parts to me that made Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. In a Tim Burton one, they did not do the fizzy Lipkin drink. They did not do the fizzy Lipkin drink at all. And two, they when they did the everlasting gobstopper, all the kids did not get one. He only showed it. But in the actual book and in the actual movie, every kid got an everlasting gobstopper. And the true test was to see if, after they have done something wrong and got thrown off, would they be willing to give up the secret? That was the key thing that was missing in the Burton movie. They showed the everlasting gobstopper, but all the kids did not get one. Well, I have to take that back. Augustus never got to that point. Augustus never got to that point because he got pulled in through the chocolate lake and everything by that time, before then. But all the rest of the children got the everlasting gobstopper, and that would made the whole thing with the fizzy Lipkin drink very important, because it wasn't Charlie that wanted to do the fizzy Lipkin drink, it was his grandfather. And because they both did it, and Willie acted like he didn't know about it until like the very end, the fact that Charlie gave the gobstopper back was the reason why he won. In the Tim Burton movie, they took all of that stuff out. I understood why, creatively wise, here to try to kind of modernize their whole aspect of modernizing that tale, it just didn't make it. It just didn't make it worthwhile here. I might save that for another show here because somebody just sent me some pictures here and it's like, oh, we're going to talk about some one-upmanship here. It's like, oh, okay. I saw Wicked, enjoyed it, brought back memories of both the city integration programs of the 1970s. Probably so. But the thing about it is, one of the key things that I haven't seen I haven't seen the stage play and I have not seen the movie as of yet. But one of the things that constantly came up on social media is dealing with Glenda. Glenda is not as good as what people thought she was based upon that series, based upon Wicked. They got it to Slugworth. They gave it to Slugworth, yeah. Help police murder. Yeah, in the Wilder movie they made it edible pieces, yeah. Yeah, Grandpa Joe is trash. Grandpa Joe is trash, doesn't get out of bed for 20 years. Charlie gets the ticket and suddenly the mofo is dead like GK. Yes, I agree. Except for the flower he drinks from the bitch, yeah. That was waxed. The Gene Wilder ate it anyway because he thought it would make need on film. Yeah. I can't say what I feel for old folks in bed all day. Yeah. And the bad thing about it is that the Tim Burton one personified that. The only time that they were out of bed is when it was time for meals, when they ate. And that's if they could muster up enough energy to get out of bed. And let's see, Glenda in Wicked is a narcissist of the first order. That's what everybody kept saying. Everybody kept saying it's like if she's supposed to be the good witch, why is she allowing a lot of this stuff to happen? And why is she not going against the grain? It's because of that. But I have to watch it for myself, just like what movie is coming that hit HBO Max. It was another movie that hit HBO Max that I wanted to go ahead and watch. But it's a whole nother thing here. It's a whole nother thing per se. But yeah, saying all that to say is that's the reason why I still have a soft spot for the Tim Burton Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm not saying that it's better. By no means, I'm not saying that it's better. But I have the soft spot for it only because of the simple fact that they talked about the family aspect of the movie and the fact of Charlie as a kid and all the stuff that he had to endure just to get to the point to become the chocolatier that he eventually became. And the fact that he didn't understand the aspect of family. And that was the whole thing. It's like, oh, you won and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, what do you mean you refuse? What do you mean I can't take the rest of my family? If I have to leave my family to take this over, no, I don't want it. And he was like, why? It's like he never could understood it. And the whole thing about, Christopher Lee and going back to see his dad, who was played by Christopher Lee, I was like, that makes sense. And that was akin to the book. And those people who, like the ending of the Gene Wilder one where, the glass elevator finally leaves the factory and ends there. I say to you, it's like we only got part of the story. You know, we didn't get the real ending of the story. Because Charlie gave him the aspect of family. Because remember, the whole thing was for him to find an heir, but for Willie to understand the aspect of having an heir, he has to have the aspect of understanding what is a family. Now you have to be mindful. The Burden one kind of talked about it, and then that's the reason why Grandpa Joe, like Parallax said, Grandpa Joe is a piece of work. It's like, how can you go for working for the man and having the man in such high pristine when he let you guys go when he couldn't figure out who was stealing his secrets? And then in the Burden one, it's like, don't you remember me, Mr. Walker? I used to work for you. And it's like he turned around, looked well, and they gave him this look of like disdain, like, oh, I'm about to rip your head off. It's like, are you one of the ones that tried to steal my trade secrets and this, that, and the other? It's like, well, no, Mr. Wonka, I work for you happily. Oh, then welcome back. It's like, I was like, yeah. You can see that awkwardness with Willie, and and like I said, that's one of the reasons I have a soft spot for it. It's not the better one. It's not the better one because for what the book was really trying to tell you, the Gene Wilder one was spot on. The modern one, if it wasn't for the Oompa Loompa songs and them doing the stuff within the factory the way that they did, it could have been a lot better. Transformers 1, I still have to watch Transformer 1. No, he didn't. That's your opinion. I let you have your opinion here. Fight me in real life. I'm not going to fight you in real life. You're entitled to your opinion to Johnny Depp. And like I said, Johnny is not going to be the Gene Wilder. They played Willie in two different aspects of Willie. If anything, the person who I would actually have to play Willie and Wonka would have been Johnny Depp because of the simple fact that Willie would have been awkward at that time. Now, why it translated into this remake, I don't know. But Gene Wilder was the wise eccentric in that movie, and I appreciate that, and I grew up on that. But seeing a Johnny Depp one and understanding what they did and what they was trying to show in the movie, he did Willy Wonka justice as far as the awkwardness that he was supposed to have. Was he the best one? No. No, but I have a soft spot for it because he did portray the awkwardness based upon the questions that was asked of him by Charlie. Because again, all those things about the flashbacks, because even when Gene Wilder had those flashbacks went by like that. He really didn't have a second thought about his childhood. While Johnny Depp, they played up his childhood aspect in the movie. So it made sense for him to be a heck of a lot more awkward to some of the questions. Yeah, everything is off. I go off the top rope. I probably have different names for that, but it's probably going to have the same effect here. Charlie was good. He was really it's like he was really good in The Good Doctor, which he produced and starred in. Yep, very good show. Yep, I know. I have a pretty good memory. I have a pretty good memory when it comes to stuff like that. But it is what it is. But we're almost at the 2 hour mark, so we made the 2 hours here. And like I said, it's about asking questions and being interactive. We got with everybody and talking about movies and everything to that magnitude. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what the show is about. Eventually, Eventually, we may be talking about, movies for like primetime Saturday night Amazonia. We don't know. Maybe somebody would take interest in those in those intellectual properties. We don't know, but it's good that we can have these types of conversations and keep them friendly and keep them healthy and happy and positive. I mean, it's that's one of the things that was saying earlier about it being a new year. At this point in time in the new year, you control how things are going to go. It's not like things that already happened and everything. It's not like things that happen and make you all angry and bitter and all this other stuff. It's a brand new year. What happened in 2024 is gone. That's been what, 4 days gone already. You might have some of the residuals effects of it, but what happened in 2024 is in 2024. You make what 2025 is going to be for you, and that's the major thing here. So, with that being said, we bid you adieu. Also, since I almost forgot about it, I'm going to mention it here, but we're going to remind everybody on Comic Book Spectrum. Be prepared for the multiverse fundraiser. Yes, we are going to be a part of that. We are going to be a part of that online convention. Comic Book Spectrum, we're going to have a 1 hour segment I shouldn't say 1 hour segment, 1 hour panel. And we're going to talk about our favorite graphic novels of all time, to be quite honest here. But we're going to talk more about that on Comic Book Spectrum starting next week, next Thursday on the 9th here. We're going to show the advertisement and everything. And if I remember correctly, is multiversefundraiser.com. Go out there and you can see how you could donate to Comics for Kids and be a part of the goings-on for the multiverse fundraiser that happens later on this month here in January. So until then, live life, grow, and be well. And I'll see you next week right here on Comic Book Spectrum. I don't know if you call it Comic Book Spectrum. Till next Saturday, till we get to another from the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, and I can keep my days straight too, because like I said, brand new year, gotta do it right, and you can't blame stuff on 2024. So until then, later.